Welcome to our extremely short lesson on weighted averages. Weighted averages are basically just a shortcut way of coming up with an average of data when you have a lot of repeated values, or when you have different quantities of values. So this exact example here, you purchase 9 pounds of grapes that are $2 a pound, and then 3 pounds of blueberries that are $6 a pound, and you want to know the average price you paid for all of your fruit. So because you have two different quantities of these two different fruits, you can't just average 2 and 6. You have to do 2 times 9, and then 6 times 3, because of the 9 pounds and 3 pounds. Take that and divide by the total number of pounds, 12, and that gives you $3 per pound. In essence, all that's going on with these weighted means is, like I said, a shortcut. We all know how to calculate an average, right? We basically just add a bunch of things up. So let's say we had the numbers 2, 2, 2, 2, and then 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, and 5. We wanted to take the average of those numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers, right? So we would add those all up and we would divide by 10. So it would be the big sum of whatever they were, and then we would divide by 10. Well, instead of doing that, we can kind of recognize that when we add these four twos together, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, isn't that the same thing as just 4 times 2? Because there's 4 of them. And then 3 plus 3 plus 3, that's just 3 times 3. And then, of course, 4 and 4 is 2 times 4. And then this one is just 1 times 5. Well, now if we add those up, isn't it the same thing as adding everything up? Right? So we can take this 8 and this 9, this 8 and this 5. We can add those up, and that's going to be the same thing as adding all of those numbers up. And as long as we take that sum, whatever that is, and then divide that by 10, we're going to get the exact same result. Well, that's what the formula tells us we do. You see, the formula is telling us to add up all of these weights times their values and then divide by the sum of the weights. So it's basically just saying, take each number, multiply it by how many times it shows up, and then add all of those products, because it's the same thing as just adding all of the individual pieces of data, and then divide by the sum of all the weights. Well, the sum of all the weights is just how many things you have, right? Because if you had 3 of something and then 5 of something and then 2 of something and 1 of something, you add those numbers together, those are the weights. That's the same thing as just adding up how many total things you have. All right, so a weighted mean is just a shortcut to taking a normal. So again, if we have any kind of set of data that we want to, play with, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, right? 4, 4, 4. Let's say 5 of those, right? Instead of adding everything together and divided by how many we have, we can do 5 times 2 plus 3 times 4 plus 1, 2, 3, 5 times 6. That's going to equal our total. And then we would just divide that by the sum of the weights, right? The 5 plus 3 plus 5. And that's going to be over the, the number of things. And if you look at what we're doing, the first number, right, there's 5 2s, there's 3 4s, there's 5 6s. Those are the weights. That's what they call the weights. And when we add up all those weights, that's just telling us how many things we have. We have 13 total pieces of data. And if we take each weight and multiply it by its value, and then add those all together, right? That's what the sum means. It means add them all together. So you take that product, right? Something times something, add them all together. That's basically just going to give you the total of all your data and then divide by the number of things. So it's just a shortcut for taking averages. That's all it is.